Hello, friends of iShook Daily and iShook and all our social media channels and programs. My name is Rabbi Beni, and this is my iShook Daily special for Sunday. I was debating a long time whether to speak about this, not speak about this, but I figured, you know what, we got to talk about this. It's already been twice that Mr. Dan Brazilian, how do you spell it? Bilzerian, I'm sorry, Bilzerian. Excuse me for the misquote or mispronunciation, but it's become a moda, like an idea or concept that people are attacking Judaism and attacking Jews in general. And I think that we have to clear the facts, in Judaism, because lately you have people who are womanizers and you have people who are, from other sects and religion that probably are not so 100%, knowledgeable. And all of a sudden they became rabbinical scholars, Torah scholars, and they've been talking about things about Judaism, what I believe. So now let me just give you an opening about Judaism in general. Judaism is the forefront, the father of all monotheism, father, mother, creator, establisher. Jews have fought for centuries and millennia to establish monotheism in the world. Now, why do we call ourselves Jewish people? We're called Jews because we're from the tribe of Judah, and only the members of the tribe of Judah and Benjamin have survived the I guess the right word is the exile of the first temple. Okay, of course, Judaism was not called Judaism till after the second temple, or during the second temple. We call them Judaism, Judea. Probably the meaning was maybe centuries or millennia later, but it comes from the fact that Judaism had evolved the Torah to rabbinical scholarly works like the Mishnah, like the Talmud, the Jerusalem Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud. We do have some tractates from the Talmud missing, specifically in the Jerusalem Talmud. But nevertheless, Talmudic study, there's a midrashic concept from the book called Medrash Rabbah that says if 1 out of every 1,000 people that go in to study the scholarly work of the Talmud, guess what? Will take 1 out of 1,000. That's the ratio. 1 out of 1,000 who will truly understand. So in reality, I don't expect all of a sudden Mr. Dan Bilzerian, or a few other people who are all of a sudden they're following this individual and what he's saying to truly understand what Talmud is. So I really want to address what he has said. First, let's play what he has said, right? Let's play the points of what he has said, okay? So this is his page. Listen, personally, I don't care what a person does privately, but dude, I mean, this is not the person to preach us Talmud, but we have to address it because he has huge amount of following, and hopefully we can address a lot of what he has said. So let's watch.
You're not telling the other side of the story of what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see the rapes and the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something
what rapes and videos?
But stay on this here if you want to continue with this.
But what rapes and videos?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything?
No, but I'm asking. No, there was no rapes during October 7th. They've shown no rapes from October 7th. They showed no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
I'll send you stuff. No, there's plenty of stories. It's not all of them.
The Israeli articles that I saw recently said that there was only 2 babies killed. One was shot by a bullet, and the other one died in a hospital. There was no babies in ovens. There was no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
Okay, so go back to the part when you said they think they're better than you. You believe that Jews think they're better than everybody else.
It says it in their Bible.
Okay, but you believe they're better than everybody else. Okay.
I didn't say they're better than everybody else.
They think.
According to their scripture.
Okay, but what if...
And if you look at how they operate, right, like they literally caught people raping Palestinian prisoners, and there was riots. But the riots weren't because they were raping the prisoners. The riots were because they felt like they had the right to rape the fucking prisoners. That's why they almost had a fucking civil war, because they felt like they had the right to rape these prisoners. They felt like that was okay because they weren't Jewish. So, when you have a society that operates like that, you're going to have fucking problems. And they're not the fucking most moral army. That's all fucking bull.
Well, whatever he says here, listen, we're not. See, the thing is that he's conflating two different points. Religion and actions of people are two separate things. The Jewish religion, Judaism, the Torah, Hebrew, Talmud, Bavli, Jerusalem, nowhere do they say or affirm that you're allowed to, God forbid, rape any man, any woman. These are things that are atrocities. They're things that are not at all fundamentals of our Jewish faith. This is nonsensical information. He is taking things that are not true. If he just watched the interviews of the Zaka peoples, Zaka are an organization that have come out, and he can't watch it because it's in Hebrew. I mean, he's reading articles. What articles did he read? But if you watch Zaka, Zaka is a group of individuals who their job, both Jews and Gentile and Arabs, are in Zaka, and their job is to collect body parts of individuals in war or in suicide bombings or in any type of bombings or any type of massacre or any type of killing. It's their job to collect the bodies for proper burial. The atrocities that they've seen and they witnessed, they said we couldn't even take pictures, but some of them were forced to take pictures. There's forensics. There's so many things that if you really did more research and actually looked at the evidence, you would see that there's evidence for that. I think he's way off on that point. This is nonsensical what he's saying. This is true in all fact that peoples have been raped, peoples have been murdered, so on and so forth. I want to go to what he did in Piers Morgan. That's what he did with PBD. Piers Morgan is a little bit more open. Let's see what he did with Piers Morgan. Let's see Piers Morgan's statements. What he had.
You do.
I don't like a religion that says that they're better than other people. And what's that?
Well, you do. You obviously do. It's blatant. No one watching this will draw any other conclusion. I'm staggered about how brazen you've been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it when people think they're better than other people. And you see that in Israel, and they're acting like that, and they're treating Palestinians like second-class citizens. They're treating them like subhuman beasts, and it sells that in their Talmud. So it says if you are not a Jew, that you are basically subhuman. And I don't think that Judaism and Christianity go hand in hand. I mean, they believe that Jesus is in hell burning in human shit, and they believe the Virgin Mary is a whore. So I don't think those are two religions that really intersect very well. But, you know, we've been programmed that they do, and we've been programmed that it's okay and that Jews are the chosen people, and I just disagree with that. I think everybody's equal.
Do you even comprehend how this interview is going to play out when it airs?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be bad. But, you know, my opinion is not politically correct, but I believe that is the truth. You know, there's 2 billion Muslims, but everybody wants to, you know, promote this anti-Muslim, this hatred for Muslim, like they're all, you know, these terrorists. And I think the Israelis are the terrorists. I think they are the ones perpetuating the big acts of terrorism. And, you know, nobody wants to talk about that.
And what do you say to Jewish people who may watch this and be utterly horrified by what they're hearing?
They can be horrified. I mean, I was horrified to find that they mass murdered Christians. I was horrified to learn the things that they teach in the Talmud. I was horrified that they think that Jesus is burning in shit in hell. I was horrified that they think that the Virgin Mary is a whore. I was horrified to learn that they think it's okay to steal from Gentiles. I was horrified to hear that there's, you know, 2 sets of justice. I was horrified to find out that they think it's okay to, you know, gang rape Palestinian prisoners. I was horrified about all those things. I'm horrified that we're funding a genocide right now. So they can be horrified.
Dan Bilzerian.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack here, right here. There's a lot to unpack. Let me just get out of this. So there's a lot to unpack here. This is another type of nonsensical thing that he's saying here. Listen, I want to be as calm as possible portraying this information. The reality is he has no clue what he's saying. He has no clue what he's saying. First of all, the Talmud, nowhere does it say a Jew may steal from a Gentile. But it doesn't exist. Even the Jews who say it in a silly fashion, it doesn't say it. The Rambam, which is the Mishnah Torah, the Dan Bilzerian, whatever his name is, Bilzerian, Bilzerian, even him quoting the Talmud would have quoted the other Talmudic text and the Mishnah Torah text, because all of a sudden he's a master in Mishnah Torah and the Rambam and all the Gemara and all the Torah and all. He's a master apparently. Like this person who was a number one womanizer is all of a sudden become a master in Talmudic study, right? All of a sudden he's a rabbinical master. Is not factual, because the reality is that the Rambam clearly states you're not allowed to steal from anyone. Stealing is not allowed, whether from a Gentile, whether from a Jewish person. It's not allowed. There's no differentiation. And first of all, there cannot be a differentiation, because we know there was the 7 Noahide laws before the acceptance of the Torah, right? Before the acceptance of Moses and the Torah. And the one of the prerequisites of the 7 Noahide laws, you can't steal one from another. The Torah was just an obligatory upgrade that Jews have now to do more than rest of society in moral standing. So that's where we're chosen. We're chosen to do more. So it's not that we're superior. Yeah, we're superior to do more obligations when you have less obligations as a Gentile in order to perform and get the world to come like a Jewish person will get the world to come. And I said this in a previous podcast there, that every person who is moral has the title of Israel and gets the world to come and the freedom of God's benevolence, bestowed upon him and his family, or her and her family, whatever it is. So this nonsensical point that, one second, that all of a sudden we are against with stealing, that's not what. First, so put that aside. That's just fact, right? And I can put all the sources also on the group chat, on the YouTube channel, and I'll do that as well in our YouTube channel, iShook Daily by Rabbi Beni. I'll put that there, in addition to the iShook general channel. Next, it's very simple. He's saying that we believe we're supreme. What do you mean? What's wrong of preserving our faith? So preserving our faith is what is manyfold. You can preserve our faith by not having any mixed marriages. What's wrong with having mixed marriages? What's wrong of saying, you should not marry outside the faith? But guess what? Even majority of Jews have married outside of the faith. Majority of Jews in history have not been religious. That's the reality. Judaism never forces religion upon others. And then he says about the Bolsheviks massacring Christians. Listen, the Bolsheviks massacred rabbis and Jews too. This is nonsensical. The whole point of communism was to utterly take out academia in general. Now, he talks about massacres. Jews have been massacred by Christians, and this is also where Candace Owens and all these Christian supremacy comes in. We've been massacred in the Crusades. Thousands of massacres and rapes were happening in the Crusades. There's canon bulls that did not let Jewish girls marry Christian men, and were only allowed to be freaking in the whorehouses. There's canons. I can share the canons with you too. Maybe we do more extensive, in-depth explanation about that, but I can show you those canons, that they actually existed, those type of canons. It's a known fact that in Christianity, we Jews were subhuman to the Christians. So all of a sudden to now reverse that now the Christians are the victim, and all of a sudden Dan Bilzerian is a victim here. Come on, he's not a victim. What is he? Nonsensical what he's saying. In addition to say that we Jews believe in gang rape, what is this nonsense? Like everything he's spewing is nonsensical. There never existed this nonsense. I want to bring to you another piece of content here. And let's see if I can pop this up. Maybe it'll help the masses. And I use ChatGPT to help, honestly, because I believe that, because everything is in Hebrew and it's hard to explain every detail. So, ChatGPT, I want to explain to you how the Jewish religion works. First of all, there's also this claim that we believe that men are allowed to have a relationship with 3-year-old children. This is the most nonsensical data that you ever mentioned. Whatever the Talmudic teachings are, and whatever the Mishnah Torah teaches, which is written by Maimonides, which is the base of all our Jewish law, we're not talking about moral people there. We're talking about actions of immorality and how we as Jews resolve those immoral actions. So this is the number one thing. To say such a thing is nonsensical. I want to read to you, first of all, ChatGPT, because it does translations and it's pretty good. Apologies for the yawn. Let me share the screen. Here we go. So now, to zoom in more, closer. Wrong one. This is the wrong browser. So the reason why the Torah has so many laws, and again, a lot of these laws are not relevant today because we have no court of court in the Sanhedrin or religious courts that exist anymore. We don't have religious courts that can issue a death penalty. And in Judaism, issuing a death penalty is very strict. We don't just issue death penalties. Okay, we actually don't issue death penalties. In reality, we're going to read right now. The idea that Sanhedrin, Jewish court, that actually someone is 70 years is considered a murderous court is found in the Mishnah in Masechet Makot, Tractate Machot, chapter 1, Mishnah 10. It discusses the rarity of capital punishment and caution exercised by the Jewish courts in imposing the death penalty. Sure, in Masechet Makot, chapter 1, Mishnah 10, the text discusses the infrequency of capital punishment by Jewish court. It states that a Sanhedrin that executes someone once in 70 years is called destructive. Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah says even once in 70 years. And Rabbi Tarfon and Akiva say that had they been on the Sanhedrin, no one would have ever been executed. That highlights the extreme caution and reluctance to apply the death penalty in Jewish law. Now, Maimonides, Laws of Marriage. So Maimonides is like 10 volumes worth of books, 14 volumes, actually, 14 volumes. So you tell me Dan Bilzerian read all 15 volumes that he can cross-write? They're all intermingled. They're all intertwined laws. You have to master all 14 to truly understand it. We have over 100 commentaries on Maimonides and on the Talmud. Talmud is never to be taken literally or directly. This is the failure of Dan Bilzerian, and all of a sudden Gentiles are already masters of Talmudic study, which takes 30, 40 years to master. All of a sudden they're at 43, they get an epiphany, they're not going to sleep around anymore, and all of a sudden, we know the Talmud. Nonsensical. Again, nonsensical. Maimonides Rambam, Laws of Marriage, chapter 3, halacha 19. It is a mitzvah command for a man to personally betroth his wife rather than doing so through an agent. So a person can marry someone through an agent in Judaism. Similarly, it is mitzvah for a woman to accept or betroth a person personally rather than through an agent. So we're saying, preferably marry the woman that you're going to marry directly. And this is what we do. 99.9% of all marriages today are done via person to person, in wedding ceremonies, in a chuppah. This is the traditional way of doing it. This is the normal way of doing it. Any other way is seen not normal. The only time that there's exceptions is because we don't know. It could be dozens of exceptions, which comes out in the rabbinical court. We see if we do those exceptions, and we don't. We don't do things that are theoretical. So people have to understand. Torah has laws that are theoretical because we want to have everything spoken about, even if they don't really happen, in order that, God forbid, if something happens, we know how to approach it. So that's the beauty of the Torah. We talk about everything at every aspect. So we create theoretical events. We're not talking about realistical events, right? Realistic events. And we also talk about events that could potentially be happening by other people who are not religious, who are not morally sound. So we need to know what is the law in that situation. And how do we resolve that situation? We can't go blind. Torah is a very extensive, and the rabbinical laws are very extensive of all theoretical law. Although a father has authority to betroth his daughter, right, while she is a minor or a young girl to whomever he wishes, it's not appropriate to do so. The sages commanded, and remember the command of the sages in the Torah, the Torah says you do not veer from your sages right if they left or right. You know, left is right, right is left. If they say what they say, that does not negate the 613 commandments and just benefits and adapts an evolution of the 613 commandments for society in better, not to negate, like all of a sudden to say the reform movement says, there's no Sabbath. No, there is Sabbath. You can't drive a car. You can't ride. Sabbath does not change. You can evolve the Sabbath to say, you can open a refrigerator. You can do this. You can have a security system, cameras in the house. Those are evolutions of Sabbath to say these are allowed. And you have many giants who have said it in the Torah, in the world of Torah scholarship. So it says the sages commanded that man should not betroth his daughter while she is a minor, but should wait until she grows up and expresses her desire for a specific person. Likewise, it is inappropriate for a man to betroth a minor or betroth a woman without first seeing her to ensure she is pleasing in his eyes, and vice versa. Because the way we learn in Judaism is that we talk in a one perspective, but it does not mean that it doesn't go the other way around. So we talk in one point of view, but it means another point of view. Same way, if a woman does not want to marry a man, she doesn't have to. She has the right to decide whether yes or no. She has to give the permission of betrothal to a man, not vice versa. There's no forced marriages in Judaism. The opposite, if there's a forced marriage in Judaism, she can come to the rabbinical court and ask for an annulment immediately. There is no such thing as forced marriages in Judaism. This precaution is taken to avoid the possibility that may not find favor in his eyes, which could lead him to divorcing or having relations with her while harboring hatred toward her. This is just a micro statement in our Jewish culture, in our Jewish rabbinical laws. This is way off. So to say that in Judaism, we believe minors 3 years old, what is this nonsense? Dan Bilzerian and all the people all of a sudden jumping on him, saying that all of a sudden this man is such a righteous man, a man who, listen, and even the woman who had relationships with him. Why? Why? Is it all about the money? Like, this is ridiculous. This is the man who will judge and justify and interpret Jewish law? Yo, that's ridiculous. This man is a true anti-Semite. He's a true man who's anti-Judaism, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel, anti-everything. He has hatred within him. Now, in regards to Jesus, it's a known fact the special or the writings of Jesus and, God forbid, Miriam, Mary as being, God forbid, a whore is not true. This is known fact that these were found in the Vatican, and many Jewish scholars have said that the Vatican had implanted this to broad hatred upon the Jewish community within the Gentiles and the Christians of the Middle Ages. There's many things that this man doesn't know, not history, not Judaism, not reality. What research has he done? He has done nothing. All he does is talk nonsense. He reminds me of all these people who were cool when they were young, but stupid when they get older. When the people who weren't cool when they were young became smarter when they got older and successful when they got older. This man is not a real success story. He's an idiot. You know, I salute to your service in the army or whatever you were, but I don't salute you for your nonsensical speaking.